Austin Faith Dialogue, a public affairs program at the crossroads of religion and life. A series highlighting the cultural and social interaction between the worshiping and religious communities in and around the capital city. Austin Faith Dialogue is brought to you by the Austin Metropolitan Ministries in cooperation with KTVC. Join us now in Austin Faith Dialogue.
Hello and welcome to Austin Faith Dialogue. We think of Austin as a wonderful place to live, and indeed it is. But Austin also has challenges and problems. And on Austin Faith Dialogue today, we're going to talk about one of those challenges that we have in our community. We'd like to talk about gangs and youth who are at risk, because what is happening to our young people, our youth, is happening to all of us in our community. I'd like to meet three of my guests for this program on Austin Faith Dialogue. Manuel Cepeda. Manuel is formerly at risk and has been able to get out of the gangs and experiencing the opportunities available to him. And Sergeant Sharon Ross of the Austin Police Department, and Robert Mendoza, an educator with the Austin Independent School District. Manuel, Sharon, Robert, thanks a lot for coming and being with us on Austin Faith Dialogue. And we want to talk about this important issue, and I know there are a lot of people watching this program who'd like to know what's happening. I understand, Robert, that the mayor has appointed a task force, at-risk task force, and dealing with the issue of gangs in our community. And you as an educator, you're on that forum and that panel. Could you tell us a little bit about that? Why do you think our mayor called together this group?
Well, you know, most people think that the task force was formed right after the incident that happened on Congress, on 5th and Congress. But really, we've been working on that for months. The mayor was concerned about the activity, all the violence that was going on. And also, we took him out to East Austin and showed him around there and showed him the kids how they were working, and then they see it on paper that they're getting into trouble, and he got interested. And it was a sincere gesture on his behalf. But again, we've been working with this problem for a long time there in East Austin, and we approached the mayor, and he says, yes, we do need a task force, and we need to start working on the problem. But it was way before that incident on 5th and Congress.
What I hear you saying, though, Robert, is that the whole idea of youth who are at risk or gangs in our community is not something new, that this is a reality that we've had for a number of years in our community. I think way back to the days when I was a kid and we watched movies like West Side Story, and we thought of that as being gangs up there in New York City. You know, well, here in Austin, Texas, is that a reality here?
Well, what I've mentioned, you know, awareness is very important. And that one happened at 5th and Congress, got people aware of what's happening, you know. And these things were happening in East Austin for many years. And not until this happened in down there downtown that people started getting aware and started getting concerned and started calling and trying to do something here and there. But, you know, it had been happening in East Austin for many years.
Manuel, you were at risk, that's the title they use. Tell us a little bit about when did you first become aware of gangs?
I guess in junior high, really, I guess elementary, I was, you know, in school. My family, which they say runs a gang, but I mean, mainly it's just really friends and a lot of family, I guess. But in elementary, in 6th grade, you know, I learned about a gang, and to me, joining the gang was, you know, to me and my friends was, you know, wearing a shirt and, you know, being happy, just being with each other on weekends and stuff, you know. But growing up, you know, with, you know, a lot of experience of seeing people get hurt and, you know, even killed, and it's helped me, you know, kind of change my life a lot.
Manuel, I have an idea, and this is an idea that comes from a clergy person, all right, so it may not be worth anything, but I have an idea that all of us have a need for a group. We all have a need for community. We all have a need for acceptance, all right? And I think people start looking for that if they don't find it in their immediate group, in their immediate family group. And I'd like to talk with you a little bit later on in the program about that.
Okay.
Sergeant Sharon Ross, tell us a little bit about your experience. Where do you fit into this whole picture with the Austin community through the Austin Police Department?
I supervise 2 separate units. One is called the Neighborhood Centers, and we have 5 of those throughout Austin They deal with the residents of a particular area, and we try to help them with any problems they might have. One thing in particular goes back to what Manuel was getting at was youth at risk. We work with the kids in the area in that community center with a police officer. We also have a new program. It's called the Police Activities League. This is geared strictly to kids 8 to 15 years of age. We are trying to get them involved in types of physical activities with police officers as good role models for these kids to be with. Give them somebody that they can look up to and somebody that really cares about them, who's interested in their lives, what's happening at home. Can we get them involved into a tutoring situation if they need help in school? These officers are also working with dealing with children, teaching them how to deal with their anger, that you must vent it, but you need to vent it in a positive way so it doesn't come back to harm you or your friends or your family members. They have a situation right now, there are more homes and families around that do not have a united force there for the kids to go to.
Are you talking about nuclear families?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
We're missing that. I can see from my generation when I was brought up to what's going on nowadays, it's much more prevalent to have a single parent in the home. Usually through maybe 1 or 2 divorces, there's a lot of stepchildren involved. There's not the money there to support the children. They're out on their own. The parent, whoever is at the house, is trying to provide some source of income for them. So they're not there to supervise, nor are they there just to give them the love and understanding and leadership these kids need. So they go to each other for help and guidance. So you've got a child guiding another child who does not have the knowledge or skills to help the other one.
Right.
And they will get with older kids that have been involved in activities that are criminal or maybe just mischief. And before you know it, they become part of that group because that's somebody that's showing them attention. Even maybe leading them the wrong way, it's still that personalized attention that they're looking for, so they gravitate to that group.
I want to come back a little bit in the program to you again, Sharon, and talk to us about the neighborhood centers and the other activities. Show some pictures that you have of things that have been going on through the police department, because the people of the community, we need to know about that. Robert, you're an educator. You teach at one of the local high schools, and do you concur with what Sharon says in describing some of the reasons why kids get involved at risk and involved in gangs?
I really do agree with what she's saying. We don't have any role models in the area. We need a lot of role models. I've been pleading to our politicians. You know, they go out to East Austin and politic, but you know, when they get elected, they don't come back and service the area. But we need them. I'm challenged them. We need them. We need them over there to come.
But Robert, I'm going to interrupt you a second. But we're not just talking about East Austin as being a place where we have gangs and youth at risk. This is a citywide problem, isn't it? We have youth who need role models throughout our community. Don't you concur with that, Sharon?
Yes, we do.
And it's a reality everywhere you go?
Oh yeah, it is. But I'm talking about East Austin because that's the area I'm working with right now. Yes, it's all over Austin. But again, those role models are desperately needed.
And do you agree with, we talked before the program started about some of the things you feel regarding a person of the religious community, not only an educator, but you're also involved in your particular expression of faith. You feel the family, again, is the starting point? Is that what you're saying?
It's the missing link. You know, parents, we need parents to stress to their kids about, you know, staying in school, going to church. And we don't have that right now. And that's where you get a lot of the violence. You know, like you were saying that there was gangs long before, you know, we were ever here. And they were, but they're not as violent as they are now.
Maybe we can find out a little bit on this program. Why have we come to that place of violence? And you talked with me a little bit about some of the reasons you both think as professionals dealing with young people, why that's happened. But Manuel, I want to pursue this. This came to my office, and I showed you this. It shows a picture of a young man. It says, "When my family didn't want me, I found a gang that did. I'm looking for a second chance," and it's entitled Realizing America's Hope. And Bill Moyers has been involved in that. Tell me a little bit about family. How about, Manuel, your family? I asked you if I could talk with you a little bit about that, and you said Mom wasn't too much of a factor in your life. And
I think, honestly, I think discipline has a lot to do with, you know, family. I think that you know, I wasn't used to doing what I wanted because, you know, I mean, growing up with my dad, you know, he really disciplined us a lot. I mean, he did a fair job. And when we moved with our mom, me and my brother weren't, you know, as used to going out as we started to, you know. and you know, I guess my mom, I mean, it's not her fault. We abused our privileges. You know, we went out and you know, we thought, you know, we can come home late one night, and you know, it became a habit. And you know, a lot of kids say that their parents have, you know, it's our parents' fault. You know, no, it's not. It's not like that. It's, you know, it's you abusing your parents', you know, right to do something when you're supposed to be somewhere. And you know, a lot of times your parents will let you get away with it, but you know, it has a lot to do with, you know, the guys. You know what I'm saying? The guys don't want to see you. You know, oh man, you're not gonna go home on time. Just be like us. We're gonna hang out, have a good time. You know, and you know, that's the way it became for a long time. And you know, my mom not only became out of the picture, but you know, my family was a gang. To me, now is just a habit. You know, to me, it was a habit. I mean, you had to be with your friends. That's a habit.
Almost like a compulsion.
That's
You had
right.
to be
You
with
got to
them.
be there every day or something. Or
What changed Manuel Cepeda? What brought about change so that you were formally at risk and no longer at risk? You told me you got a job now, things are looking up, you're 18 years of age. What made the difference in Manuel's life?
Well, a lot of times, you know, especially now, I see friends that I call friends now that were once my enemies, you know, rival gangs, a lot. You know, I seen kids that, you know, actually a lot of guys I'm friends now, I mean, their friends killed one of my friends. And, you know, to me, to go out, you know, I don't want to go somewhere and, you know, be looking over my back, you know, to see if somebody's going to come and do something. But, you know, to me, in order to get somewhere in life, you got to, you know, cooperate with one another, you know, be friends. And I have a lot of friends now, you know, a lot of friends. You know, I can go up to people that, you know, were once my enemies and say, you know, how's it going? And, you know, when are we going out? You know? But I guess now if you really want to be somebody in life, I mean, first things first, you got to take care of the problems that, you know, that you have on your back right now. And to me, you know, I saw my background, you know, I saw how I used to be, and, you know, I thought about, I mean, it wasn't just me, it was, you know, role models and, you know, a lot of help. It took a lot of, to me, I think, you know, now I could say I didn't abuse my help. You know, kids should. You know, if they see help, you know, if they see real help, like, you know, people wanting to take them, you know, rec centers and, you know, PAL program and, you know, the organizations, a lot of organizations now, you know, stuff I didn't have when I was a kid, or people that, you know, didn't want to just help. Volunteers, a lot of volunteers. And, you know, I wanted.
Are you going to do that someday, Manuel? Will you be one of those adults who's doing that type of thing?
Yeah. I coach a basketball team.
He's already doing that.
Yeah.
Is that you know, I think this guy is a star. And I'm really glad that we could have him on Austin Faith Dialogue because, you know, I don't want to puff you up, Manuel, but I am so grateful that a young man like you who's experienced some of the life experiences you've had will come in and say to the Austin community, this is something that I've experienced in Austin. And I really don't want to look over my back and have someone threatening me. I want to be friends with people. And I think Robert, Sharon, we probably should have him be a diplomat. We could use that on the international level. Sharon, you talked about neighborhood centers, and then you talked about the PAL program. Let's talk, first of all, about neighborhood centers, and then let's show some pictures of some of the other things that are happening through the PAL program, would you?
Okay. We have 5 neighborhood centers. We have one located on Navasota. We have a black female officer that works in that center, Kathy Ellison. She's been there 3 years. She knows her community real well. She makes a lot of the community meetings with the neighborhood people there. She listens to their problems, and that's the main thing. Get out into the community, find out what their problems are, what they want us as police officers to do to come in to help them.
Was there a time, Sharon, that didn't take place with the police, a time that maybe the police were looked upon as people riding around in a car, and there wasn't that, again, going back to years ago when we were kids, the myth was Officer so-and-so who knew the kids on the street and could relate to them because he walked the beat, so to speak.
We used to have that many years here in Austin. We had the old officers that walked beats. We got away from that. We modernized. We got into patrol cars because we had more calls coming out, and we had to get from one place to another. So we gradually moved away from the community officer. We have realized over the years we've got to get the community involved. We cannot just do enforcement activities out there to solve a problem. It takes the entire community coming together.
Right.
And doing this includes more than just police officers. You have to get your church members. You got to get your educators involved. You got to get the kids that are out there that need the help to come and talk to you, to show you that, hey, there's a big problem out here, and it's going to take all of you working together to accomplish this. I have another center on Booker T. Washington. I have an officer out there that works there. He's been there for about a year now. He's got a good rapport with these people. He's working on some projects out there with the community,
Right.
especially in the housing projects. A totally different type of atmosphere, different things that we have to work with. We have one on South First and Old Tarf. That's the one further south that we have. That's a new one. We have a lot of gang activity over in that park. And we have an officer, Elaine Garrett, who's working that area right now. We have a new center that's on East First Street. It's right down in the barrio. And we're getting the gang members to start coming by there, meeting that officer, Billy Cifuentes, so that they can get acquainted with him. He is also working on setting up a tutoring program starting in March at our new location on Springdale, where we're going to move all of our patrol to. This way we're going to have school teachers in the afternoon to help the children with their classes. Also maybe put on some training programs for them to help them deal with problems at home, maybe even job skill programs to help these older kids, like things how to interview for a job, how to dress for a job, certain things you need to look at when you're going to apply so you're prepared for it. We're looking at all aspects of what we can do to help the community.
Great.
So it's pretty involved, and we've got one on Montopolis. Now it's the farthest east, and that officer is new out in that location, so he's having to learn the different groups that are out there and try to get them to come together as a united community. We have to get the community involved and united and go together and get things accomplished.
What I hear you talking about is, in my terminology as a clergy person, is ministry and relating to people and knowing your constituency, knowing the people who are around you. What about now those are the neighborhood centers? If people wanted to volunteer who are watching Austin Faith Dialogue, would they call you, Sergeant Sharon Ross? Is that how they'd find out more about the program?
They could, however, if you'll check in the telephone book, we have the different neighborhood centers listed, and the telephone numbers are there, so if they're interested in volunteering in their area, they could call that particular center and set it up with that officer. They'd be more than happy to have some volunteers. Matter of fact, we need some more volunteers to help answer our phone and go out with the officers to work on projects. We could use as many as possible.
That's pretty exciting. What about the PAL program? What is
That's
that?
a new one. It's called the Police Activities League. It actually got started up in January of last year with one officer and one supervisor. It is a form of the national PAL, which is across the United States. Other cities have gone to this to deal directly with the children. In August, we acquired 2 more officers in the program, and we started putting on activities. And I believe I got some pictures for you.
Right, let's show those pictures now if we could of the, well, there you see the Dallas Cowboys. That's Troy Aikman and Babe. I don't know his last name anymore. But
Laufenberg.
there you go.
We actually had, when we got Dallas Cowboys to come down here for a training program, we had the children, the smaller children come out. They would carry the helmets for the football players and get involved in an activity. The football players were very instrumental in helping these children through a time during the summertime when they didn't have anything to do. They took pride of being there with the football players, and we had many of them take the kids and love them and really get them active in this program. It was a great beginning for us.
We may have another picture or two that we could go to. Oh, boxing.
Yes, boxing is one of our other programs. We have Martin Ortiz, who's actually the coach for us, and he does this all on his own time at a gym that he has, and he takes in the young kids and he works with them. And in fact, Manuel was involved in our boxing program there for a while, doing real well, my understanding. This is an exposition that we had, and it was out at Highland Mall.
I understand that Manuel did some boxing. He was telling me before the program he did pretty well. Let's see if we have another one, picture there. Basketball.
Yes, that's one of our officers, Fred Rodriguez, that he's out there with the kids in the basketball program. We had what we call the midnight basketball program. It's for young kids up until 9 o'clock at night, and then we turned it over to the older kids to come out. This was to give them something to do during the late summer months like August and into September, and it finally finished up in November to give the kids a place to go where there was some structured activities so they wouldn't have to get involved with gangs.
We've been doing for years a basketball league in our parish, and it's really turned out to be well for the neighborhood. We got to know many of the kids we would not have gotten to know if we had just said, come to worship. We say, come and play basketball. They come to play basketball.
Yeah.
Another basketball scene.
The young man there in the blue shorts is Panama Myers. He's at UT. He's on the basketball team there. He's well thought of. He came out and he's donated a lot of his time to the youth in East Austin. And he doesn't care what the children do as long as they come out and get involved. He's willing to be there to help them, to show them that you can do something, but you got to work hard to get there, and you got to devote yourself to it.
That's exciting. It sounds like you've had tremendous resources then in all of these pictures you've shown to us. So the PAL program is also open to people, volunteers. What if a person's
Yes.
not a Panama Myers, if they're just a regular person on the street? Are they still available to come
Yes.
in and play?
We need people to come out to assist the coaches. Anybody with coaching experience, we need them. We're going into volleyball, soccer, softball, and then we'll have to start over again to see which programs we want to start implementing.
Sharon, have you seen, does it make a difference? Does it help? Is it reaching young people?
Yes, it is. It's just that it's such a new program. We've only been operating since August as far as really having activities for the kids to be in. It's going to take a while for the word to get out that we're after all kids. Anybody that needs a place to come,
And
we're
I-
there for them.
And I think also, Sharon, what Manuel said to us is that the persons who come there, they need to be real.
Yeah.
They can't just be coming in saying, we're going to do this and try to, can't be condescending or put down, right, Manuel? Now tell me about somebody who is a real person to you. Is that somebody here with us in the
Yes,
program?
sir. Robert Mendoza. I mean, he's done more for me than you know, anybody that's really ever helped me. You know, he not only, you know, school, he got me back into school. He got me back into, you know, things that, you know, I'd be, I mean, to tell you the truth, I'd be probably somewhere on the streets right now or somewhere if it wasn't for him. It started, you know, I was into baseball. I like baseball. I was in a lot of sports, really. So he, you know, he was our manager. You know, he helped furnish uniforms, and I mean, he does that in everything. He knows that it's hard for people that are, you know, just, you know, in my background to really get somewhere in life, and he not only takes his own time, but, you know, and money, and he, you know, he helps not just me, but a lot of kids that, you know, he's more than a role model to me, you know.
Robert, what are some of the things you as an educator have experienced, not only with Manuel, but other youth? What do you see happening, and what have you been doing? What are some of the programs that are available through what you and others are doing?
In March, we found out that there was not going to be a baseball program there in East Austin, and my wife and I started to take it over. And we had a big challenge. We didn't have anything, no uniforms, we didn't have nothing, no balls, no bats, nothing. And we had about 50 kids that wanted to play ball. So my wife and I started looking around, started getting our resources together. We found a Buster Cappuccino who was a tremendous asset to the whole program. I mean, he helped us set that program up, fix it up. And we started in March. The program was supposed to start in April. By April 15th, we had 475 kids. And we had uniforms for all the kids. We had monies for baseballs. We had monies for bats. We had monies for all those activities. And we wanted to continue this. So after baseball, we went to basketball. And in football. In football, we had over 300 kids. Manuel was one of our coaches.
Did you win, Manuel?
Oh, not really. I mean, to me, I mean, seeing kids like that, getting out there on Saturdays, you know, kids, and even 18-year-olds were out there playing, you know, but I mean, that was waking up, you know, everybody goes out on Friday, and you know, it's hard for kids to wake up or stay up late Friday, but, you know, a lot of kids really getting out there and trying, and people, you know, helping them.
The key factor there was the parents, the amount of parents that turned out. At our work, you know, we had started going back to baseball. At our work day that we had there, I mean, we were scared because we had three people out there. In about 30 minutes, we had like 100. It was going to take us, like, let's say, a week to do the 2 fields. We did that in half a day with all the parents that we had there. And right now we're going into the basketball program, and we're starting up Saturday. And we have 28 teams, and each team has anywhere from 10 to 12 kids.
I hear you and Sharon both talking about the importance of sports. And Manuel, you mentioned that too. Sports can be a great vehicle to get people to participate, feel good about themselves. But we also have to deal with the area of education, right? Economics, those are factors too. We don't want to build up the idea that if you just be an athlete, you're going to become a multimillionaire, right? That's kind of a, what else can we do to help? And what are you doing to help these kids to stay in school, for instance?
We use sports to grasp get the kids in. And once you get them in, that's where, you know, I pleaded for role models. That's where the role models can come and help. We need role models, lawyers. We need role models that are doctors. We need those kids, I mean, those people, because these kids have never been exposed to those types of people. And these kids need to be exposed to those people at a friendly atmosphere, you know, and as friends, not going to see the doctor or going to see a lawyer.
Robert, are you optimistic? Do you think that there will be those role models in the Austin community who will come and say, I want to work? Is that a possibility?
I think so. We've seen it. We've seen it grow. Like, again, you know, our program that we've had a lot of success. And I'm pleading to the politicians. That's an important factor there. The city council has been very supportive. Robert Barnstone, for example, the mayor, they've been very supportive with financial help, and also they're there and help us. And but we need to plead for everybody else. You know, our state representatives or senators or county commissioners. We need to plead for all of them.
So
we need
you
their
can
help.
have people like yourselves and like Sergeant Ross and Manuel who care about these programs and care about these young people, but you also have the political ingredient to put into this. Isn't that right?
Right. They have the power.
All right. And I think that's important for us to say to those who are watching Austin Faith Dialogue is talk to the politicians and let them know that this is something important. Sharon, what's your dream? We just have a couple minutes. Tell me, what is your dream for the community centers and for the PAL program?
I like to see the community centers enlarged. I like to have doubled the number of officers involved there. We can be open in the evenings, possibly even on Saturdays. The PAL people, I need to have at least 5 more officers in the PAL program. So we're looking at financing. We need more money for the department so we can hire the officers to put them in these programs to work with the community.
And people in the religious community can have some clout and input if they'll say to the police department, this is important.
Yes.
Robert, what's your dream?
The same. I want to where all of us, you know, like she said, it is not a police issue. It's not a police problem. It's a community problem. We need to unify. We need to join together. We need to join hands and work together and trying to work on this problem, because it's a major problem. You know, gangs have increased from last year to this year. They have doubled.
Yeah.
And the number of incidents have doubled too, from, let's say, from January of last year to January of this year.
Yeah, I think gangs are simply a symptom of what's going on in a community. And I think those who are gang members are saying something to each one of us who are a part of this community. And I believe that people like Manuel and Sharon and Robert are worth your time and my time, that we invest ourselves in people, telling them how important we believe this is to share this time together. We have a dream, all of us. And the dream is that Manuel and those he cares about might be able to enjoy the rich and the good life that God intends for us all. We want to thank you, Robert, for your work as an educator and also in this community, and Sharon, yours as an officer for our police department. And Manuel, I want to thank you because you're our hope and you're our future. And we want to thank all of you for watching Austin Faith Dialogue. Come back and be with us again next week. Peace be with each and every one of you. Thank you.
For more information, call Austin Metropolitan Ministries at 472-7627.